have with us Mr. Etienne Ding from MLab. So we are very privileged to have him. He not only worked with MINDEF to improve the health and fitness of our soldiers, he also has worked with Apple to design the Apple Watch. So if you have any questions for Etienne, please feel free to paste it and write it in the Q&A box, and we will get to it at the end of the session. So without further ado, I will pass the mic to Etienne. Etienne, please. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to meet everyone. Again, I think this is the second time I'm doing this. And I'm so happy that many people sign up for it. And this is actually relevant to you all, and you all enjoy this topic. So that is very good. And today, our topic is very interesting because with the pandemic, as we all know, technology has been boosted. Everything has become digitalized. You know, now your IC is on your SingPass, e-payment, wireless payment. So also, right, mobile technology can help you to stay healthy. Also, people are starting to be more conscious of how many steps they are taking each day, since now everything has been digitized. And today I'm going to share a bit more with you, right, what those numbers mean. And this workshop is really for users who wants to have a basic understanding of those numbers. And if there are athletes down here, sports people down here, you can still ask me questions. But there's another workshop that I do with Smart Nation on sports performance with mobile technology, which means your wearables, your mobile phones, or things that or technology that's portable. And today is always more about you than me. So ask lots of questions. Our moderator will float the questions up to me, and I will do my best to answer them. And if I can't, I will get back to you. If you don't mind, you can drop an email to MLab. I will introduce myself first for people who have seen me for the first time. I'm an exercise physiologist / sports scientist, a bit of hybrid. That's because I started, more than a decade ago, and I'm fortunate enough to dabble in both areas. I graduated with a master's in exercise and sports studies from NTU, and in my line of work, I prescribe exercise as medicine to help people to stay healthy, to prevent chronic diseases like diabetes and heart diseases, which all exercise to be complemented with medication. Exercise is a very powerful tool for everyone to stay healthy and to live longer and better. Live longer doesn't mean it's necessarily good, but live longer and still continue to enjoy doing the things you love. For example, traveling, playing with your grandchildren, even we are 80. Yesterday, I met a 74-year-old man who is still running about, and I'm so happy that he's so fit, running about in the park with his dogs. And actually, it's one of my friend's grandfather. So that's good. And then the other part of it is to help athletes, right, to stay injury-free, because we know sports, for some of us, you can type in the chat, share with me what kind of sports you play, and then I can also maybe share a few mine. Then most important is to help athletes, right, the general public athletes, the day-to-day weekend warriors, to stay injury-free so they can continue to play sports to be healthy, and also to engage socially with their teammates and to distress. Many of us use sports as a way to distress. And MLab is where I worked at. This clinic is one of the first in Singapore to have physiotherapy, exercise physiology, and sports science all under one roof. So we are really big on preventive health and conservative treatment. So we believe in using exercise, right, to improve people's health, which means we try not to go down the medication and surgery route, but instead, right, whenever possible, we try to recommend exercise, because there's almost no side effect, and benefits are usually long lasting. And for us to do that, we are clinicians actually, which is pretty common in US and Australia, but not so common in Singapore. I still find, yeah, we are very dependent on acute treatment. So in a nutshell, that's me. I work in MINDEF, like what Michelle, thank you for the introduction. And Apple, I didn't design the Apple Watch by myself. I did it with like a huge team. I'm just there, right, to make sure that the Apple Watch measures what it's supposed to measure. And I can't share more than that. That's because I'm under NDA. Yeah, that was for a good 4 years at Apple. And today, I'm not only promoting Apple product, but a lot of things I'll be sharing with you could be used on even Samsung, Android platform. You just need to find the right application and the right wearables. Okay. All right, keep the questions coming in the Q&A. And first, we want to know the basics of what kind of health technology can you actually use to meet your needs. That's the most important. There are so many apps, so many health technology. Everybody, there's this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Wow, I have wearable, I also need to have, but is it really useful? So today I'm going to share with you what those wearables or mobile technology could be used, and you can probably go and explore it. And then what those health data actually means. So sometimes, recently HPV have health trackers, right? And health trackers, there are lots of numbers, and some of the health tracker users, they know step counts, but what about the heart rate? Do they really tell me what I'm supposed to know? I can see my heart rate changing during exercise, but what does it mean? 120, 150, is there a difference? Yeah, so I'm going to share with you a bit more about this basic data analysis, just very basic. And if there's anything, please still put in the Q&A. I'll try to do it. Okay, great. So these are the two things. First, learn what could be useful for you. Second, learn the basic health data. Okay, so to put the context right from the start, physical activity is always linked to health if you believe in it. Okay, it's very easy for me to say, just exercise or just move. That's the very common message, right? But it is a bit more. We need a bit more detail to that and a bit more prescriptive advice to that, because it's like if your child go to school, right, you cannot tell the child to say just study, just go, better than not going, right? It doesn't work, right? You need to study at the right level, you need to study the right topic, the right amount also. So it's the same thing with exercise. Okay, and physical activity, basically it means there are two components to it. First is incidental physical activity. It sounds like a very big word, right? But if we just summarize it, IPA, it means, right, things that you do unknowingly, unstructured. For example, walking to the market, walking around the house, mopping the house, things that you don't really plan. Exercise, whereas exercise, it is something that you plan for. For example, like me, right? I plan to cycle every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 5 a.m. for 60 kilometers. Yeah, this is usually my routine for the past 1 year. And I'm sure, please raise your hand, those who have started cycling just because of the pandemic and bought a bike now. Yeah, so many people started cycling, right? And okay, I'm not a safe driver. I'm not a safe cyclist because I'm a driver myself. So before you judge me, yeah, I really keep no going across red traffic light. Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, sometimes cycling, right, it's very hard to coexist with drivers on the road. So I do understand. Yeah. And okay, so these two, IPA, unstructured activities, and structured activities combined together, right, they form up your physical activity level. And then if you can do these two things together, you will have better heart health. Okay, you will have better muscular strength. Okay, and also mental health also, which is a big topic nowadays, is the trend. I mean, with the COVID-19, right, everybody habits are broken. Sometimes we cannot travel, and sometimes we travel to distress. Okay, and yeah, so by doing these two things, IPA enough and exercising at the right amount, we can achieve good health. And today I'm going to tell you what kind of wearables, right, can actually help you track these two things. Okay. So that is for exercise, right? Physical activity. Then there are also other wearables and other health technology, right, that help you to manage your nutrition, even your sleep and mental well-being. So there are many more, of course, social elements. Sometimes if you Google what makes up well-being, everybody's definition of well-being is different. But I'm trying to simplify things. Generally, to me, when I advise my patient, these are the four areas that we need to improve. If we can improve, if we can target these 4 areas, right, and do the basics right, our health will have a significant change, a positive change. And we are going to talk more about this today. Okay. Do you all agree with me? Is it these 4 things? Or do you all have more? Please write in the comments also. I used to have a coming what wearing for I felt I do, correct. So this anonymous attendee, I'm sure this person has a name, but maybe he's not comfortable with sharing. Yeah, that this is one of the cons of having a wearables, right? This notification, it triggers, and then it stresses you, or somebody is like always at the back of a neck, breathing at the back of your, at the back, breathing down your neck. Hey, do this, do that, do this, do that. Yeah. So I would find, right, you should try to maybe just reduce the number of notifications. Maybe one of the notifications, after I share, you think which one is more important to you, just do that first. Okay, because we don't want to use technology and feel stressed about using it. That's I mean, you offset the benefits of the health tech. Yeah. Choose one. Don't and I think start with the vibration also. I think it's okay to miss 1 or 2 notifications. I do that also. So yeah, if it does stresses you, I would suggest switching it off and then looking at what you have done at the end of the day. Okay. I would answer the questions intermittently so that we can go through I can share with you all the things that I wanted to share today at a good pace. And okay, and the last part is, right, so even though with an increase in physical activity level, right, obesity rate is one of the highest in all time since 2010. 10.5% of Singapore residents, means everybody staying in Singapore. So if there are 100 people, 10 people are obese. This is this phenomenon is not right. So in my opinion, even though people are exercising more, that's what the studies also say, the survey. The question is, back to my first point, are we exercising at the right amount? Are we studying at the right level? Cannot be studying more, then you don't pass your exam, right? Then you will think, is the school teaching the things right or not? Or is this child studying? Or you have these questions, right? So when you pair Singaporeans are exercising more, but obesity rate also increasing, what is wrong? So I do not know about the dietary part, but exercise part, I would think that the prescription element is not there, because if you look around, right, generally the messaging is just move, better than don't move, right? But they don't really say you cannot just move, you need to move the right amount, right intensity. So that's where the wearable will help. Okay, so what is health tech? Health tech basically, it's technology that will help you to track your health, give you objective feedback, means give you numbers. It's not like, oh, you are exercising today, I think it's good. There's no thing. Maybe it will tell you, are you exercising at the right amount? You are maybe 10 minutes short. Yes. And then it's able to measure quite accurately your intensity. You are at 70% of your maximum intensity now. Okay, your heart rate is at this level. And there are a few wearables. For example, on your watch, your phone is one of the health tech, and the phone nowadays, because of the advancement in technology, the power of the hardware is so strong that the analytics, right, could be performed very quickly. It's just a second, and then it can track your habits also. And then there's also, you see the lady, I presume that's a lady, okay, sleeping there. Okay, she's sleeping on a bed. It's a sensor that measures your sleep duration, sleep quality based on your movement, and then the manufacturer says that it can detect the mechanical stress of the heartbeat, right, to measure the quality of sleep. Okay, all these are guesstimates, but it's still good feedback for you. Okay. Okay, let me answer some questions very quickly. Let's see if I can. Okay, Chris say I have a Samsung smartwatch, similar function as Apple. Oh yes, similar, but probably the functions could be lesser, because Apple Watch, I believe there are more app developers, right, developing app for it, and the hardware part, there might be difference, because when you buy a wearable, right, if you can afford one, get one that has good hardware, so it actually measures what it's supposed to measure. Okay, similar function, basically the basic functions, it can measure heart rate, track your step count. But I also hear that some of the wearables, right, because the step count, the algorithm, that means if you shake, I'm sure some of you all shake the phone, right, and then the step count do register, right? But with Apple phone or Apple Watch, right, when you shake, right, it doesn't register because it understands that you are just shaking the phone, you are not walking. So you want phones that can accurately differentiate between you just shaking the phone or moving your hands when you are walking. So the algorithm in iOS or Apple OS, right, Watch OS is pretty strong. It can differentiate. So I think, yeah, it would be good to read the reviews now. I'm not so sure about Samsung, but generally hardware is the same. Sports injury, to take note for yoga. Based on my experience, right, based on my experience, a lot of our patients that come to our MLab for physiotherapy treatment, right, they do sustain muscle strain because they do stretch beyond what their muscle could do. That means because yoga is supposed to be meditative, right, and calm, right? But I hear from my patients, some of them become very competitive. Wow, you can touch your toes. I will stretch more than you. I will use my head to touch the toes. So they become a competition. Then they sustain this strain. Yeah, I'm not sure why they do this. So for stretching, I would say you have to be a bit uncomfortable, but not until that level where you feel pain. Yeah, it takes time for the body to adopt stretching. And yoga, it's just one fitness component, flexibility. You need to be sure that you cannot be too, some of them has too much flexibility and they neglect other type of component like heart health and strength. Yeah. Okay. So answer live. I will answer the rest of the questions along the way also. Okay. So benefits of using health technology. First, you can increase physical activity. Okay, studies have shown, right, those people with actually like with a smartwatch, they do increase step count by 2,000 times a day, 2,000 steps a day. You know, yeah, their step count actually increased by 2,000, and then they also can exercise at the right intensity because a good intensity will give you the best health benefits. Too easy, you will not be stressful enough. Like if you study too easy, if you study at very easy level and not at you will not be prepared for the exam. Too hard, maybe you sustain injury because it's just too much too soon already, right? And the reminders, but like what one of the attendees said, right? The reminder sometimes is a bit irritating because you just feel stressed already. You have a lot of meeting reminders already, and then this also, hey, do this, do that. Then sometimes maybe your spouse also asks you, remember to pick up the kids, remember to buy this, buy that. Wow, you're just overwhelmed. So just switch it off. Okay. But if you are the kind who have space for reminders, it's good. Okay, so these are some of the benefits, and reminders like this. Check your rings. Okay, you just say check your rings, and if you cannot finish, I don't feel stressed. It's basically, right, something to keep you in check. You know, you're accountable to the watch. Sometimes I had a conversation with my friend. We say, how come we are accountable to our friends? Sometimes when we say, okay, let's go exercise, right, we will try to show up. But when you say, let's exercise today, I by myself, right, sometimes maybe I'll take a rest. Then we say, how come we are so accountable to other people but not to ourselves? Maybe some of us are social animals and we feel like we want to be together and to be part of the group, right? We want to do things together. So it's also good to be always accountable to something. So either a tracker, you know, say, oh, you want to close the ring or you want to go exercise. Yeah. So this is really useful, I feel. Okay, what can we track? Okay, now the most important thing is, just now I said the 4 areas, right? Exercise, nutrition, sleep, and mindfulness. So I'm going to show you the health technology that could be used to track these 4 things. So the common perception is 10,000 steps a day, right? That one is just a Japanese marketing campaign in the 70s. I think mid 70s, I can't remember. Because in Japanese, 10,000 steps in translation is a mambo and it's easy to remember. So, you know, marketing campaigns, you want it to be catchy, right? So it doesn't necessarily need to be 10,000. If you can clock 7,000 to 9,000 steps a day, right? Your incidental physical activity, which means your unstructured activity, will be at a good level. That means you have been walking around enough, not just sitting at the desk, you know, and this all helps in the calorie expenditure. Yeah. Okay, 7,000 to 9,000. So check your step tracker if you have one. Make sure that it's 7,000 to 9,000, or at the end of the day, right, just take a look, or at the end of the week. If not, if you didn't meet those average, then next week you say, okay, I'll do a bit more. All right, and if for the red one are those people who do 4,000 steps daily, and the people on the right 12,000 steps daily, it could be done. You know, like for me, right, a simple tip is, first, when I go to the hawker center to eat, I'll park the car further away. And the good thing is I always get car parking lots over there. I don't need to fight with somebody, or I don't need to be waiting there. And also I'm a bit particular, you know, sometimes people it's one dent on the side of my car, so it's always good. I park, so I'm able to clock 12,000 steps by this kind of simple strategy. And you have 65% lower risk of dying from heart diseases, or even, you know, lifestyle related diseases like obesity related diseases, diabetes. Yeah, so these are studies shown, right, that if you take that much, I think that's quite a lot of steps. Like 4,000 is really too little already. It's quite sedentary. Okay, but if you can hit 12,000 steps compared to those people who hit 4,000 steps, right, you have 65% lower risk. So maybe you have to check your step tracker now. And for those people who have gone back to the office, you can compare between the colleagues, see anybody at 4,000 or anybody at 12,000. Okay, then you should try to motivate each other. Next, the intense. Okay, before I go on to this, let me answer some more questions. What sort of wearables can you recommend for nutrition tracking? I'll come to this later on. How to meet 130 grams of protein per day. This one you can use the nutrition app to. Wayne Tang asked how to meet 130 grams of protein per day, right? Actually, it also depends on what kind of exercise you are doing, your body weight. So for example, like somebody who is involved in team sports such as, say, badminton, they could be taking in 1 gram per kg of their body weight. I'm just, these are numbers, there's a range, actually 1.1 gram to 1.2 gram if I can remember. And if you weigh like say 60 kg, right, that means it's 60 grams of protein a day. 130 grams of protein a day is quite a lot. What do you do? Or yeah, I mean, if you want to meet 130 grams, it must come from a variety source of food, right? Cannot, so like meat, dairy, beans, just mix it up. But 130 grams is quite a fair bit. You must be working out quite intensively. Yeah. And if it's really too much, then you have to use supplements already, because maybe it's just not practical to intake that amount of protein, right, a day, right, just based on food sources. You could be too full. Yeah, intermittent fasting, right, good for us. I'm not too learned on this topic, but I think intermittent fasting, a good thing, right, is it creates a schedule, a routine to help you manage your food intake, because you have a fasting period, right? And sometimes, like me, I snack, right? And if I do intermittent fasting, right, I will try to stick to it. I say, okay, no snacking. So in other way, right, it helps me to manage my habits. Okay, and I don't overeat in that way. But for somebody who's exercising regularly, like for example, if I need to plan I need energy throughout the day, because if I cycle in the morning 60K and in the evening I'm doing resistance training, right, I cannot have any gaps in between to fast, because I need energy. And basically, we try to, depends on, you do intermittent fasting to slim down or to be healthier. For me, I feel you have to be dieting and exercising both at the same time to be, yeah. So what is it good for you? I think if you are not exercising so vigorously, you can try it out, but try to have a balanced diet first. I think that's more important. Okay, I'll answer the rest of the questions after this. Good, keep those questions coming, because that's the whole purpose of a live show, so I can answer you. If not, it's just as good as a pre-recorded. You all can tune into YouTube after that, after Smart Nation upload ready. Okay, great. Good questions, guys. 30 minutes moderate 5 days a week. This is the recommendation by American College of Sports Medicine. This is the prescribed exercise intensity and volume, right, for us to have health benefits. Okay, and 5 days a week. If it's 3 days a week, that means you are just active. You're not even meeting the health benefit, health recommendation. Anything below 3 days, that means 2 days, you are sedentary. Sedentary means you have a lot of health risks. And we say, I can hear some of you say, huh? So high number, mean I must exercise every day? Yes, we have very low expectations of our exercise volume and exercise intensity. Correct. You're absolutely right. Okay. So with health technology, right, like wearables, right, some people are asking, right, you can, the wearables will pair with your phone and it actually can show you, right, within that week, right, are you meeting the amount of exercise goals or not. So if you can see this example, okay, this is a schedule. So you don't need to write down in a diary. Your smartwatch, basically it measures your intensity at moderate and it tells you, if you look at the green one, right, out of 7 days, I've meet six out of 7 days, I've meet the exercise recommendation of 5 days. So I'm more than enough. Okay, that means I know over this week I've clocked my health points. It's as good as you have done your savings. Every month I will save $1,000. So this is savings for your health when you get older. Okay, then you will have your health investment, I will call it. And why is this important? Yeah, so the wearables, or you bring your phone along, sometimes you put on your arm, right, when you run, right, it helps you to track volume. So that's very, very important. Okay, if you exercise at the right intensity, okay, you can reduce heart and circulatory diseases, right, by up to 35%, which is 1/3, that is very, very, very high. Okay, the volume must be right. So 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Okay, it's about 150 minutes. And if you cannot do 30 minutes, you can break it down to a minimum of 10 minutes each. Okay, but it cannot be 1 minute and then you go off somewhere. It has to be blocks of 10 minutes at least. But I think try to finish 30, set aside time, protect those time to do 30 minutes. That would be more useful. Okay, now intensity, right? Which is what I mentioned in the beginning. When your wearable or your heart rate monitor actually tells you, right, like, oh, 64, what are those numbers? At moderate intensity, you should be exercising at 64% to 76% of your maximum heart rate. Okay, that is good stress. We call it good stress for the heart. So what if you don't have a wearable, right? Then you can say, oh, I run, right, and I can say 3 or 4 words only. I cannot like chit chat with my friend. So that's moderate intensity. Okay, and how does the app actually helps you? Okay, you can key in. If you look at the left hand side, you can calculate your maximum heart rate, 220 minus your age. Okay, that is a very simple way of measuring. There are more advanced ways, but we will not go into that today. So 220 minus your age, and that is 100%, right? For example, I'm 20 years old. Oh no, sorry, I'm 40 this year. Sorry, a bit delusional now. 220 minus 40 is 180, right? So my maximum heart rate estimated is 180, which means I will start calculating, 64% is how much. Then I'll key into the app. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's light, moderate, vigorous, right? What you want to aim for is the moderate intensity. And then you can this app in zones, ZONES. On your smartwatch, you can see when you're exercising, it's yellow, right? Oh, that means it's below my intensity. I want to go up a bit higher. I want to go to orange as indicated by the app. So you go up a bit more, it tracks. And then you go over to red, which is vigorous. Oh, I hold back a bit more. So I will not be too tired, or I'll not run the risk, right, of an injury from overuse or too strenuous exercise, fatigue-related injuries. Yeah. Then at the end of the exercise sessions, you can see how many minutes you actually spend in moderate. And you can see in this example, it's not enough. It's only 8 minutes. You want to spend 30 minutes. So everything is done for you automatically. And then you can see. So you want to aim for that. So key in those numbers just for once, and then you're done. Usually those numbers don't change much throughout unless every year you just update because your age changes, right? Yeah. And you can also see, okay, this is another way. This is on the phone, so it's easier to see. So this is when you have feedback, then you can see, the last session I didn't do enough in moderate intensity. This session I'll do a bit more, and then you can see, oh yes, it's 53 minutes. And you can see I manage my intensity quite well. I spend most of the time in moderate. So enough. I will not be super tired at the end of the day because all I want to do is clock health points for myself. I just want to exercise for health. That's it. Yeah. All right. Before I go into nutrition, let me answer more questions. What's so Lily, I'll answer your question. Stella, I answer a question. Anonymous attendee, recommend a good health watch for running. Okay, running depends on how far you're running, right? And I'm not promoting any products. It's just based on my experience, my interaction with athletes. Garmin, right, is good for marathon runners because it's rugged and the battery do last a bit longer. Apple Watch, I think nowadays the battery life it's much better. Last time sometimes it might not be able to last a marathon, but I'm not sure if you are running a marathon or not. But if you are running a 10K, most watch will be good. Okay, Garmin, buy reputable brand like Garmin, Fitbit, Apple, because their data and their hardware is accurate enough for you to make sure, right, you are actually running at moderate intensity. And if you wear the watch correctly, so the watch should be snug and not tight. Snug means maybe you can put maybe a finger through it and it's nicely nested in at your wrist and it's not shaking because it uses light to measure the changes in the volume of blood in the capillaries. So basically it measures your heart rate through light. So if it's shaking, right, it just measure a torchlight, you keep doing this, right? So it's not good. So very snug. Affordable price range, that's very subjective. When I first started, I buy one from Carousel because it's always the cheapest, right? And I do not know whether I need it or not. Yeah, my friend usually do that, and you don't want it to become a white elephant. So get one from Carousel. Try to find a good secondhand one. If you don't mind, yeah, I think good things don't come cheap. But if you believe in investing in your health, right, and you think this is totally necessary for you and you use it, right, and then so just find one within your budget and do your survey but don't get some things that are too cheap. It's the data that you get will not be useful. Okay. What watch would you recommend for accurate reading of activity? It's not that expensive. Oh, Fitbit. There are some good. Actually, there are few lower tier watch already. Yeah, Apple also has Fitbit. I think Garmin. There's one also. I'm not too sure about Xiaomi and Samsung because I don't see many athletes use or many of my clients use. Yeah. And I think it's the same as the previous answer, right? Get a good one. Don't try to save one because basically it measures your health, right? And you wouldn't want to buy something that doesn't measure it accurately. Yeah. Okay. Blood level, low blood count. No, Apple Watch can't detect that, Vicky. Vicky asks, can Apple Watch detect the blood level, low blood count? I'm not too sure what you are trying to ask. Maybe you can repeat the question again. You can type again and I'll try to answer it. Okay, let's go on to the nutrition. I'll answer the rest of the questions. Okay, calories, right? So this is the part about nutrition. This app is called Lose It, LOSEIT, Lose It. It pairs with your smartwatch. If you can see at the bottom, there's this budget, right? This is in the app you type, for example, I will lose 5 kg in 6 months, then you give you a budget. Of course, you have time and other parameters like your height, your weight, your habits, all these, and you'll just give you an estimate. Okay, the budget, right, for this is 1,509 calories a day. So it pairs with your wearables, and when you exercise, okay, you will come under minus 169. So that is the output. So minus 169 calorie. Okay, and then the food, right, is the amount of intake. That one later I'll show you. You can key in. And some of us, if this app is not local, does it have local food? Yeah, because the app has an open library where everybody can contribute. But there's also a catch. Some of it might not be accurate. So there are also accurate ones with a tick, like Facebook, Instagram. The celebrity, they have a tick. I'm the real person. Yeah. So food minus exercise, intake minus output, right? Then you get the net. So 732. That means this is the amount of intake I have. Okay, and then you can see the green one, which is good lah. That means I'm 777 calories under my budget, which means I'm taking in less. Okay, that means I'm on track lah. This is a bit too little lah. Yeah, I think I overdid it already. This is actually from me lah. Yeah, try to be sustainable. Okay, this is like half of the budget. If you still have more, right, then you can go closer. So all these are just estimates, but it's good to let you know what your dietary habits are in combination with exercise, and you don't need to track. Your smartwatch will just input directly to the health app. They talk to each other. So no brainer. At the end of the day, you just go and look at your app. Okay, like what I said just now, right? So this is this is my breakfast, my lunch, chicken biryani. As you can see, it's very healthy. Okay, I try to find chicken biryani with less oil on. Yeah, although I'm an exercise physiologist, I'm also quite a normal person. So I do day to day. I don't eat some of my patient think I eat salad every lunch. No lah. I'm like everybody also. I try to balance. Okay. So I love my minced meat noodles also. So this is my diary. And you can see there's a green tick, means it's verified by the app teams of dietitian, or there. I'm sure there's somebody to say so the nutrition count is more accurate. If not, you can log on to health promotion website and double check the calorie count. And the good thing about this app, you can scan food label also. So imagine you're having a snack bar, right? You just go to the scan button on the app, you scan it. The nutrition values, calorie count, sodium, what will all be computed inside. Of course, if you need more details, you can go premium, which means you need to pay. If not, the basic is free. Yeah, I think that's one of the top questions that a lot of people ask, is it free or not? Okay, so local food is available, yeah, and then no brainer. So the only hard part is tracking the food, and some of y'all ask like, wow, I have to track every day. No, basically you try to track over 6 weeks, because 6 weeks is usually what it needs to form a habit, right? That's 6 weeks, 4 times a week at least you track, but try to track continuously for 6 weeks, so you have a good picture. You can generalize your food habits. How does it look like? Okay, so if you are over, you can see just here, you have rating. Yeah, they say, oh, okay, this habit is not good. Then at the end of 6 weeks, right, you want to know, you weigh yourself again. So start off week 1, week 0, you weigh yourself. Okay, maybe I'm 70. At the end of 6 weeks, based on this diet, based on this exercise program, I actually lost 2 kg. So is this okay for me? Am I on track? Is the food habit too difficult? If it's okay, then actually like you don't need to track anymore. You just follow this. You have a sense of it. Yeah, so this is good. Okay, before we go to next, let me answer more questions. Okay, just now Lily, right, asked what sort of wearables can you recommend for nutrition tracking? Wearables for nutrition tracking, I would say the wearables is actually the watch to track your activities, because I don't think that there are any wearables that can actually help to tell you what not to eat and what to eat. Not really. It's more of the automation where your wearable input the exercise expenditure, calorie expenditure into your food diary on the phone. Yeah, I think that's more important. So you don't need to go and think about it. At least you know, right? Are you eating enough, or eating too much, or eating too less? Yeah. So wearables don't really have, but same thing, get an accurate one. And okay, what is the best 5K timing for a 60-year-old man in SG? Wow, this question, best 5K, I'm not too sure, really. I can try to go and find out and answer you, but maybe you can tell me what is your timing. I would say, right, I know a guy. He's from Team Silver. He's my idol. His 10K timing, I think he can do 45 minutes, and he's about 60 years old. So I will use him as a benchmark because when I run with him, I can't catch up with him. Yeah, I'm always behind him. Okay, so that would be really good. But best, I'm not too sure. But if you can do that 10K in 45 minutes at 60, I would think that's pretty good. I think it's like what, 90th percentile, maybe. So Stephen Liu asked, my measured heart rate is around 180 during a run. Is it normal? I'm 45 years old guy. Are you running very hard? If it's very vigorous, it could go up to that high. Then also, are you hydrated or not? Because if you are dehydrated, heart rate might also go up. Or do you have pre-hypertension? All this. Is it normal? Yeah, it's really subjective. And how do you feel? Do you feel very uncomfortable, breathless? Is it always 180 during that run? But if based on ACSM recommendation, I don't think you need to run at that kind of intensity to get health benefits lah. Yeah, normal. But if you do have any concerns, right, it's always good to check in with a cardiologist. Yeah, even to do an exercise stress test, which is what I recommend some of my patients. They put them on the treadmill, stress them with a cardiologist at the side, exercise physiologist at the side, and see how their heart responds to exercise stress. Yeah, you cannot be too careful with this kind of thing, one. So it's really subjective. But try to think through those those statements that I made. Hydration, do you feel like tightness in the chest, what kind of intensity are you running, what kind of run, how long are you sustaining that run for? And another anonymous attendee, what about those who do walking trips for 1-2 weeks covering 13-14 kilometers per day? Walking trips, is it acceptable? Okay, so 13 to 14 kilometers per day, right? If it's just for exercise, it's quite a good distance. Based on my opinion, is that it's quite a good distance. The thing, right, acceptable or not, it's whether you have been progressively working up to 13 to 14 kilometers. For example, like this week, I'm only walking like maybe 5 km. Then suddenly next week, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to walk 13 to 14. So it's too much. Usually we'll increase mileage by 10% a week. So 5 kilometers, right? Next week will be 5.5, and then 6 kilometers and so on. Just 10% of the previous week mileage. And you can also be conservative about that. So it really depends on what kind of mileage you have been covering before that and what kind of goals you're aiming for. Yeah, if you are strong enough, 13 to 14 kilometers a day, right, I would say it's acceptable as long as your body, right, is trained to do that. You see, there are athletes who run 200 km a week, top elite athletes, and amateur runners, sometimes they clock 70 kilometers a week. And there are people who don't even run 2 km a week. Yeah, it really depends on what state of fitness are you in. Okay, what kind of exercise, last question, what kind of exercises consider moderate? Like brisk walking at 5 kilometers per hour. That is a good example of a moderate intensity for most people. Yeah, 5 to 6 kilometers per hour. And any exercise, right, aerobic, resistance training, not really, that's too intermittent, like you stop and start. You must be continuously at least 10 minutes. Okay, and then you have constant output, and then you feel a bit breathless, you are panting, you are sweating, and you can hardly string a sentence or word together. You can just say 3 or 4. So any exercises that meet those criteria is considered moderate intensity. So Alvin Chan, that's your answer. Thanks for asking the question. Okay, moving on to sleep now. Sleep recommendation. This is, Singaporeans don't really sleep a lot. Okay, but for working adults, right, young adults, or even young adults means anyone, I think above 18, 19, consider 7 to 9 hours. We should get continuous sleep. But sometimes you don't get that. And sleep does affect a lot of things, right? Because it affects the way, because during sleep, our body repairs itself, our body refreshes the mind, recharge the memory, the working memory, our focus. So the next day we fill up, we charge, our body repairs itself, we wake up with a better attention span. So 7 to 9 hours would be the optimal of continuous sleep, must be good quality also. And how many of you actually clock 7 to 9 hours? Please comment. Yeah, you can. Oh, you all cannot comment. Yeah, right. So 7 to 9 hours. If you cannot meet 7 to 9 hours, right, then yeah, it's quite challenging for some of us. And what kind of application, right, you can actually help? I'm going to share with you later. But why is it so important? Because in a study, right, 2 groups of participants, one slept 8.5 hours, 5.5 hours, both lose almost the same rate, as you can see from the bar chart. But the person who sleep less, right, lose more muscle mass, or actually they call it non-fat free for the purpose of simplifying in this workshop, right, I just call it muscle mass. And then lost less fat. So both lose weight, same diet, same exercise, but just because of sleep, right, they lose muscle mass, which is not what we want. We want to retain muscle mass. So you can see the group that slept well actually lost half. It's a very big difference. Okay. Yeah. So when you're on an exercise program, I always tell my client, right, like one of them is a banker, he trades US hours. He sleep only 3 hours. So we have been, it's very challenging. And he exercised very hard, but because of the poor sleep, right, it offsets the benefits from the exercise. Yeah, even if you lose weight, right? Yeah, so it's very, very challenging. Okay, so be mindful of that. how can your watch, right, and your mobile phone, or even if you had a bedded, a specific device you put on a bed to measure, right? How can it help? Okay, so this is a bit tricky. The quality of sleep cannot be not very accurately measured by watch. But what we want, right, is also at least something to tell us how long have we slept. And then at the end of the day, right, we can actually look in a diary, oh, this is the amount of sleep that I've done. Okay, so the wearable you can wear on a watch for those people. And again, it's like food. You don't need to wear forever. You can wear over a period of 6 weeks just to understand your sleep habits for a period of time that you can generalize. 1 or 2 days, not good, because today you might be very busy. Then tomorrow you sleep a bit longer. So it's not a good generalization. Okay. It measures by tracking your heart rate, your movement in bed, and then there's an algorithm inside the hardware that tells you, oh, whether this is good sleep quality or not. But those with sleeping disorder, right, please remember to seek doctor's help. Okay, this is for those people who have no sleeping disorder, who just want an objective feedback about their sleep duration. And then also good sleep notification, time to go to bed. Sometimes I work until I forgot that it's time to sleep. And this is a diary of somebody. So I do ask my athletes to keep track, or my patients keep track, right? And once they keep track, they are conscious of how little they sleep. Okay, I'm going to sleep a bit more. So it's always feedback, right? You're always accountable to something. So in the next month, they actually increase their sleep by 16%. It's not meeting 7 to 9 hours yet, but it's still an improvement. If you don't track, you'll never know how much you are actually doing. So one of the good things about wearables, right? If you do wear it or put your phone next to you, you on the sleep app, it can tell you, okay, quite well, how long have you slept? Okay, and the last part, right, is really, I'll go through this before I answer the rest of the questions. There are still a fair bit of questions. Mindfulness. Mindfulness, actually, it means, right, that in this time when our habits have changed and there are certain, when there's a change in routine, we do get stressed. Humans are very habitual creatures. We do get stressed. And meditation has shown, right, that over 8 weeks, if you do a meditation exercise over 8 weeks, 5 minutes a day, right, it can actually help you with a lot of things. So with your watch or even with your handphone, there are little vibrations, or there are cues, graphical cues, right, for you to focus and for you to take deep breathing, for you to understand how to control your breath. You can also listen to podcasts. Also, it's okay. But with an app, right, it can actually help you, right, to shift your attention, right, on the graphical input over there, and then you can meditate. And again, everything is automated. If you pair your app with the diary, so like Apple Health or even like Google Health, right, you can actually know how many minutes you have spent meditating each day, and you can see overall, right, it will improve your attention span. Okay, that's one. Your working memory, so you are able to memorize things better. Sometimes you don't sleep enough, right? You wake up halfway and then you have to go to work, right? You find that you are very forgetful. And then also emotional stability, which means there's a study to show that if you meditate enough, you can disengage from negative thoughts or negative emotions, and you still can continue to work. That's very important. So sometimes in the middle of the day when you're working, and some of us maybe we meet some trouble, right? And then you suddenly lost focus. But with meditation, you can have more emotional stability. So with that, right, a smartwatch will be able to help you with it. So these are little health data that you can see whether you have meet the minimum requirement or not for 8 weeks. Yeah, for meditation, it's really 8 weeks. And like I even though I just introduced like 4 types of things, right, but it's so mind-boggling, right? Or which one should I use, right? I would recommend maybe you start with the physical activity app first, and then also the nutrition app first. And if you can couple it with Lumi Health, which is a collaboration between it's a project by Health Promotion Board. Okay, it provides it rewards you for staying healthy, which is the best lah, actually. Yeah. So you can find this, right? You can just type Lumi Health Singapore, and it can show you the statistics. You see, just by using a wearable, 39% of those people who participate, the participants that have taken on this Lumi Health, right, has actually increased 39% in exercise minutes, daily exercise minutes from the time they start to the time they collected this data. Yeah, it's incredible. And the most important is the low activity group, which is people who hasn't started exercising. They're doubled. Yeah, people who exercise, we don't really worry because they have this motivation. Yeah, it's quite incredible lah. So that's the power of health technology, right? It gives you that reminder. If it doesn't stresses you, it helps you to track. You are accountable for it. Okay. And that comes to the end of the workshop. I would not